The moment I found myself alive, sitting in a wrecked Mustang on the side of I-75, was when my revenge truly began. Smoke was leaking from under the hood. My knuckles were white around the wheel. My heartbeat felt louder than the engine. I had just missed the guardrail by inches, going 180 on a wet curve. I should have died. But I didn't. And somewhere in that silence, still breathing, still bleeding, I made up my mind. If I survived this, they wouldn't. Not with bruises. Not with broken bones. With consequences. Let me tell you where it started. I used to ride a black Harley. And I drive a Mustang fastback. Fast. Loud. No apologies. I was the guy moms warned their daughters about, and most of those daughters didn't listen. I didn't chase women. They came to me. I had the leather, the smirk, the too casual attitude. I was fun. Wild. Unattached. Then I met Rachel. She wasn't impressed. Didn't flirt. Didn't fake a laugh. Didn't ask what I rode or where I worked. She looked me straight in the eyes and said, "You look like a guy who always runs before morning." That hit me. Harder than it should have. She walked away, just like that. No game. No hook. No smile. I couldn't stop thinking about her. So I chased. For the first time in years, I chased someone. Real dates. Real talks. Sunday coffee. Morning walks. I slowed down. She made me want to. She didn't care about the Mustang or the Harley. She cared that I remembered her dad's name, and that I always tipped servers well. And when she finally let me in, no walls, no distance. I fell harder than I ever expected. 5 years later, I was ready to give her everything. But same apartment, same routines. Rachel liked her coffee black and her mornings quiet. I liked blasting classic rock while frying eggs. Somehow, it worked. Our place wasn't fancy, but it felt like home. 2 bedrooms. One we used. One we called the future. We'd started calling the second room the baby room even before there was a baby. Painted it light gray. Bought a second-hand crib from Facebook Marketplace. Hung string lights above the window. And yeah, we installed a baby cam. Not because we needed it. Because we were practicing. She laughed the whole time, struggling to sync it with her phone. I remember her holding up a teddy bear in front of it, waving like it was a demo for parenting school. "Looks like we're ready," she joked. That was 2 years ago. And we mostly forgot it was even there. I thought I knew her. She left notes in my jacket pockets. Sent me dumb memes about cats that looked like me. She'd randomly pull me into the kitchen just to slow dance during dinner. She made life better. Not just easier, better. We weren't married, not officially. But I had a ring. I had a plan. A cabin in the Smokies. Her favorite season, early fall. The whole proposal was set in my head. I'd even practiced what I'd say in the mirror. She had no idea. I loved that she didn't. I loved how confident I felt, knowing this time I was getting it right. Then came the conference in Chicago. Just a regular sales trip, 3 days, corporate hotel, dry breakfast bagels, bad Wi-Fi. She texted me on the second night. Long day. Just got in. Shower time bathtub. I smiled. Sent back a heart. Thought about calling her after, maybe catching her in a towel and teasing her about it. Then I remembered the camera. It was still connected to my phone. I hadn't opened the app in over a year. I figured, why not? Not for spying. Just a little inside joke between us. A flirty moment. I pulled it up. The feed came online. At first, nothing. Hallway light on. A few shadows. Just a quiet apartment. Then movement. A figure moved across the top corner of the screen, just outside the frame. My first thought was, maybe that's Rachel, just fast. But then she walked into view. Hair wrapped in a towel. Laughing. barefoot, and looking off-screen, smiling, not at the mirror, not at the phone, at someone else. She disappeared into the baby room, and that's when I saw him. He followed right behind her. Shirtless, toned, comfortable. They were laughing. Her face, I'll never forget her face. She kissed him, tugged him toward the crib. Then the screen went blurry. They stepped just slightly out of frame. But I saw enough. I saw everything I needed to see. I sat there, completely still. TV still playing some late-night commercial in the background. My food untouched. My heart barely beating. I remember reading somewhere that heartbreak feels like pressure in your chest. But it didn't. It felt like falling down an elevator shaft. No sound. Just the feeling of dropping fast. I closed the app. Stood up. No words. No thoughts. I grabbed the keys to my rental Mustang. Walked out like I was going for ice. By the time I hit the highway, it was raining. Not pouring, just enough to make the road slick and the lines blurry. I was doing 95. Then 100. Then 115. I was shaking. Not from fear, from rage. I wanted to find him. Whoever he was. Find her. Find them both. I wanted to hurt him. Not yell. Not argue. Hurt. I wasn't thinking. I was hunting. I took a bend outside Kansas City too fast. My tires lost grip. The car spun. I watched the guardrail come closer. Too fast. I thought, this is it. Then the Mustang slammed sideways, skidded, and finally stopped. 2 feet from the end of everything. Steam hissed from the hood. My breathing was all I could hear. I didn't scream. Didn't cry. Just sat there. Alive. And in that moment, I knew exactly what I had to do. I nearly died for someone who didn't even hesitate. I won't lose control again. I won't scream. I won't fight. I'll smile. I'll wait. And then I'll take everything from them. When I walked back through the door that next morning, Rachel was standing in the kitchen, barefoot, sipping her usual black coffee. She looked up at me and smiled like nothing had changed. "You're back early," she said, walking over for a hug. And I hugged her. I held her the way I always did. Same grip. Same warmth. Same rhythm. Only difference. This time, I wasn't holding the woman I loved. I was holding a stranger. But I didn't say a word. I didn't bring up Chicago. Didn't ask about anything. I didn't even blink. Instead, I smiled. Kissed her on the forehead. Told her I missed her. For the next week, I became the perfect man. Breakfast in bed on Sunday. Random flowers on Wednesday. Back rubs. Movie nights. Handwritten notes left on her nightstand like I used to do years ago. And she ate it up. She started humming again when she brushed her teeth. Started wearing my old t-shirts around the house like she used to. She even mentioned that things felt better lately. Better. The word made me sick. But I smiled. They always say to keep your enemies close. I just never thought mine would be sleeping in my bed. That weekend, I told her I had a surprise. A weekend getaway, I said, holding up the brochure. A quiet cabin in the Smoky Mountains. Hot tub. Firewood. No cell service. Her eyes lit up instantly. She always talked about going back to the Smokies in the fall. It was her dream spot. "You did this for me?" "Of course," I said. "You've been stressed. I thought we could use some time away." She hugged me so tight I almost believed it was real. What she didn't know was that I had already booked the cabin weeks ago, for the proposal that would never happen. Now, it had a different purpose. A few days before the trip, I told her I'd need to drive up ahead of time. "Work call in Asheville," I lied. "I'll meet you at the cabin. Just enjoy the drive. I'll have the place ready." She didn't hesitate, didn't question it. That was the moment I knew she was planning to bring him. I left a full day early, but not for work. I drove straight to the cabin, alone, parked, brought in the firewood, set the wine on the counter, lit a candle. Then I got to work. I had ordered a few gadgets online the week before. A clock with a hidden 4K lens, a fake Bluetooth speaker with an audio mic, a portable nanny cam with night vision, all of them synced to my private server. I placed one on the dresser facing the bed, one in the corner vent, one near the door, catching whoever walked in. I checked the angles, tested the sound. Then I stood in the middle of the room and whispered, "Let's see what you bring into this place, Rachel." I left just before sundown, left the fireplace ready, her favorite bottle on the counter, everything perfect, romantic, inviting, like a man in love had planned the whole weekend. And in a way, I had. The next morning, I got the notification. Camera motion detected, smoky cabin, 10:04 a.m. I opened the live feed on my laptop. There she was, wearing that same green jacket she wore the first time we hiked together. And right behind her, Mike. He walked in like he owned the place. No hesitation. No looking around. Just set his bag down, unzipped his hoodie, and stretched like he'd been here before. Like they'd done this before. Rachel smiled at him. A real smile. That unfiltered kind I hadn't seen on her face in a long time. She looked happy. I watched from my laptop screen as she opened the wine I left for her. The same bottle we drank the night I first told her I loved her. She poured 2 glasses. They sat near the fireplace, cross-legged on the rug. Mike leaned back on his hands, laughing. I couldn't hear every word, just bits and pieces. But hers cut through clearly. He's good to me. Safe. He's always there. Then softer. But you make me feel alive. Mike leaned in and kissed her. She didn't resist. She closed her eyes and held onto the back of his neck like she'd done to me 100 times before. My hands stayed still. No shaking. No rage. Just quiet. I moved my mouse. Clicked. Record. They moved to the bedroom. She climbed onto the bed. The same one I had carefully fluffed the pillows for. The one I meant to kneel beside with a ring. He followed her. She turned the light down, but the cameras didn't need brightness. Everything was there. Every sound. Every move. Every lie. I didn't close the laptop. Didn't flinch. Just watched. Like I was watching 2 strangers. Only I wasn't. One of them used to be my whole life. It went on for nearly an hour. They laughed. Fell asleep tangled together under the comforter I picked out on her birthday. At some point, she whispered something into his neck. I couldn't hear it. Didn't need to. It didn't matter anymore. Because now, I had everything. I spent the next few hours scrubbing the footage, cutting it clean, muting the noise where I didn't need it, sharpening the frames where her face said more than her words ever could. Then I saved the files onto 2 flash drives. One for me. One for what came next. Mike drove a silver Dodge Challenger. Clean. Custom rims. Personalized plates. MK*G. Yeah, real subtle. He parked it the same way every night. In the open. Diagonal. Proud. Took me less than a week to learn his habits. He hit the gym at 6:30 every morning. Grocery runs on Fridays. Always back home by 8. The guy had a routine. The kind that makes people predictable. I wasn't just going to hurt him. I wanted him to wake up one morning and have his entire life flipped upside down before he could even make coffee. Not with fists. With silence. First, I needed access. I already knew where he lived. But getting to the car, that was different. So I waited. One night, 2 blocks away, parked with my engine off and my lights dimmed. I watched him pull in, lock the car, head inside. Then I walked up to the Challenger with a signal booster I bought online. Took less than a minute. A soft double click. Doors unlocked. Just like that, his key fob became mine. I waited 3 nights. Then, just before 2 a.m., I made my move. No traffic. No pedestrians. No noise. I slid into his Challenger, started the engine, and pulled away without waking a soul. Driving it felt surreal. It smelled like a gym bag and expensive cologne. Like the kind of guy who thinks he's invincible. I drove 40 miles out, to a rural part of the state where no one knew me. A truck stop with just 2 pumps and a single camera. Exactly what I needed. I wore a hoodie, work gloves, and a clown mask I picked up from a costume store 2 towns over. I pulled in like any normal car, then stepped out holding a black pistol. Replica. Airsoft. But from 5 feet away. It looked real enough. I didn't say a word. Just pointed. Let the clerk fill a bag with about $400. No one got hurt. No yelling. No chaos. I walked out. Drove the car 5 miles away. Parked it. Wiped every surface. Put the clown mask in the trunk. Gun in the glove box. Then drove back home in my own car like nothing happened. By 6 a.m., the Challenger was back in Mike's driveway. Locked. Parked exactly how he left it. By 7:30, I was drinking coffee on my porch. By 8 o'clock, I got the alert from the news. Overnight gas station robbery caught on tape. Suspect wearing clown mask, Dodge Challenger spotted fleeing scene. I smiled into my cup. The next part came fast. Police matched the car. Ran the plates. By noon, they were at Mike's door. According to public arrest records, they found the clown mask, the airsoft pistol, clothing that matched the security footage. He swore he had nothing to do with it. Swore he didn't leave the house. Said someone must have stolen his car and brought it back. Sure. Because people borrow muscle cars for armed robberies and return them cleaned and parked like valet. He was charged with felony armed robbery. They took him in handcuffs. His mugshot made the local evening news. His boss fired him the same day. Company email leaked. Due to recent events, we are terminating employment effective immediately. I watched it all unfold from my laptop. Silent. Calm. He wanted to step into someone else's life. So I gave him a new one. For the next few days, she moved like someone else. She still smiled. Still kissed me good morning. Still made her oatmeal the same way she always did, but slower. Her eyes weren't there. She'd stare out the window longer than usual. Forget where she put her keys. Walk into a room and stand there like she'd forgotten why. I didn't ask at first. Didn't need to. I knew what was messing with her. By the 3rd day, she couldn't keep the performance up. We were eating dinner, rotini with that cheap red sauce she always added too much garlic to, when I saw it. That twitch in her jaw. Like she wanted to say something but didn't know how. So I asked, "You all right?" She looked up from her plate too fast. "Yeah, fine. Just weird week. I guess I'm just nervous about my birthday." That was the excuse she went with. Birthday nerves. Sure. She cleared the table like always, but her hands trembled when she carried her plate. I watched the way she rinsed it, like she was trying too hard not to think about something. I gave it a day. Then I decided to have some fun. It was the following evening. We were sitting on the couch. She was curled up under a blanket, scrolling through her phone, pretending everything was fine. I turned the volume down on the TV and said, "Hey, did you hear about that gas station robbery?" She glanced over. "What robbery?" Some guy in a clown mask held up a pump off 82. Real weird story. Happened a few nights ago. She didn't blink. But she paused. Her thumb froze over her screen for just half a second. I leaned back, pretending to think out loud. They say it was a Challenger. Silver. Like, high-end, sporty rims. Not the kind of car you'd expect from some petty thief, right? She didn't say anything. I watched her jaw tighten slightly. Then she forced a laugh. A quiet, choked-out version of the real thing. No, I hadn't heard. That's crazy. I nodded, still looking at the screen. Waited a second. Then added, I mean, who knows? Maybe someone set him up. Doesn't make much sense, a guy who drives a car like that robbing a rundown gas station for a few $100. Now she was really still. Didn't move. Didn't breathe. Just stared straight ahead. And then, just when I felt her pulse practically humming through the room, I turned my head and looked right at her. Smiled. Maybe he crossed the wrong people. Like, I dunno. Bikers. Her head turned slowly. Eyes met mine. Bikers. I shrugged. Yeah. I mean, back in the day, guys like that would have settled things with fists. Chains. Maybe a busted nose. But now, the smart ones, they're quieter. Smarter. Take things away piece by piece. Sometimes you don't even realize it's happening until it's done. I sipped my water. Revenge looks different these days. She didn't speak. Just looked at me. I could see the wheels turning, fast and loud. She was putting together dots she didn't even know existed. But she couldn't say anything. Because to say something meant admitting she knew something. And so she just nodded. Barely. Then got up to do the dishes. I watched her shoulders as she stood at the sink. Tense. Tight. Trying to stay normal. Trying to hide the storm building behind her face. And I sat there on the couch, silent, content. Because I knew something else now. She had no idea what I'd done. But something inside her had finally cracked. Her birthday landed on a Friday. She wanted something low-key, so we booked a private room at a restaurant she'd always wanted to try. White tablecloths, dim lighting, soft jazz in the background. There were about 20 of us there. Her parents. Her sister. A couple of old college friends. A few couples we'd met through work. People who thought we were the perfect pair. Everyone was dressed up. And she was glowing. Hair curled. That deep green dress she saved for special occasions. Lipstick I hadn't seen since our 3rd anniversary. She looked like someone expecting something big. And she was. From the second we walked in, people watched us like they were just waiting for the moment. Little glances. Half smiles. One of her friends even whispered, loud enough for me to hear. He's totally going to do it tonight. She blushed. I smiled. Not because they were right, but because I knew just how wrong they all were. Dinner moved fast. Toasts. Laughter. Stories. Her mom brought up how Rachel used to dress up as a bride when she was 5. Everyone melted. Rachel hid her face in her hands. The waitress brought out dessert, one of those sparklers in a cake things that's mostly fire hazard but still fun. And when the light faded, I stood, clinked my glass. Before we wrap up the night, the room quieted. I wanted to share something with you all. Rachel looked up at me, eyes wide, hopeful. Her hand drifted toward her mouth, like she was about to cry from joy. I held up a small flash drive. I made a video, a kind of highlight reel. For us. For her. People clapped. Someone said, "Aw." I turned to the host and gave the signal. He dimmed the lights. The projector screen lowered from the ceiling. And the video started. The first 30 seconds were perfect. Clips of us hiking. Laughing in the kitchen. Goofy selfies. Beach days. Road trips in the Mustang. She held her breath, like she couldn't believe I'd gone through the effort. Someone at the table whispered, "This is so sweet." Then the screen glitched, intentionally. Hard cut. Static. And then, the cabin. Angle from the dresser cam. Rachel. Mike. Laughing. Drinking wine. Kissing. Another cut. Bedroom. Bodies moving under sheets. Her voice. Clear. A woman gasped at the table. One of Rachel's friends stood up. Her dad turned in his seat. Rachel stopped breathing. I didn't say a word. The room was silent. Completely, painfully silent. The video ended. The lights stayed off for just a second longer. Then the house lights came back. Everyone turned toward her. She was frozen. Eyes wide. Face drained of color. Mouth slightly open, like she still hadn't taken in what just happened. She tried to speak. Nothing came out. I stepped forward, set the flash drive in front of her plate, and leaned in just close enough to whisper, "Happy birthday." Then I walked out. Didn't run. Didn't look back. Didn't answer a single call that followed. I turned off my phone that night. Not on silent. Not do not disturb. Off. She called. I know she did. Probably right away. Probably 10 times. And then her sister. Then her mom. And then texts. Lots of them. I didn't read a single one. The next morning, I packed a bag. Threw in a few changes of clothes, my laptop, my backup drive. Left the rest. Then I walked into our apartment, her apartment now, and took only what was mine. My documents. My tools. My helmet. My ring. Not the one I planned to give her, the one my dad left me. I left the keys on the kitchen counter, along with a printed copy of a notice from my lawyer. The place would be sold. Any shared belongings? She could keep them. I didn't want the couch, or the blender, or the fake fiddle leaf plant she never watered. I was done. Done being tied to someone who treated my love like a costume. Then came the envelope. No name. No return address. Just a flash drive inside. I sent it to 3 places. Her parents. Mike's employer. Mike's lawyer. Let the truth settle in where it needed to. I heard later from a friend that Mike was indicted. The case was going to trial. The footage didn't help him, made him look like the kind of guy who wasn't exactly where he said he was. He pleaded not guilty. Didn't matter. They had him on video. The fake gun. The clown mask. The car. And the motive. Pretty strong when you're sleeping with someone else's partner. As for her, she cracked. That's the word I kept hearing. Cracked. She was seen leaving work early. Stopped showing up to brunches. Ghosted people she used to be glued to. But the biggest punch came from where she least expected. Law enforcement. Apparently, once the robbery made headlines and Mike's arrest became public, detectives started digging. Looking into who was close to him. And her name came up. Texts. Calls. Hotel receipts. Cabin footage. They didn't charge her with anything. But they called her in. Twice. And they didn't go easy. I imagine they asked hard questions. The kind that feel more like accusations. Did you know about the robbery? Were you with him before or after? Why was your voice on the cabin mic saying you felt alive with him? Eventually, they let her go. She wasn't part of the crime. She just had terrible taste in people. But the damage was done. Job. She resigned. Reputation. Shot. Trust. Non-existent. I didn't have to lift another finger. The world had seen who she was. And me. I was gone. New town. Small place. Quiet. Started working with my hands again. Wood, mostly. Built chairs, cabinets, a few custom tables for local shops. People paid in cash. No questions. No stories. I liked that. But sometimes, late at night, I'd lie awake and feel this strange silence. Not peace. Not regret. Just quiet. Like I'd finally finished a war I never asked for, and was left standing in the smoke, unsure of what winning was supposed to feel like. It's been 8 months. I haven't heard her voice in over 240 days. Haven't seen her name light up my phone. Haven't passed her on the street. Haven't smelled that peppermint shampoo she always used in the morning. But sometimes, when I'm not thinking, I still reach for her in the dark. Out of habit. Out of memory. I wake up with my arms stretched across cold sheets. And I remember. You'd think revenge would leave you with satisfaction. Closure. And for a while, yeah, it did. Watching Mike get dragged out of his house. Watching her face crumble in front of her entire family. Watching the silence spread after the truth came out like smoke in a crowded room. That felt like justice. But justice doesn't heal you. It just stops the bleeding. She hurt me in a way I didn't know I could be hurt. Not just the betrayal, but how easy it was for her to live beside me while it happened. How natural she made it look. How gently she kissed me while her heart was somewhere else. That broke something in me. And no matter how cleanly I cut the ties, some parts stayed tangled. I don't want her back. Let me be clear about that. There's nothing left to rebuild. No part of me that would ever trust again. Even if she begged. Even if she cried. Even if she swore she was a different person. I don't need her in my life. But sometimes, I still miss her. The her I thought I had. The version that never really existed, but felt real enough to love. I miss that dumb laugh when she tried to tell jokes. The way she'd sit on the floor while folding laundry like the couch didn't exist. The way she'd hum when she brushed her teeth and thought I couldn't hear. I miss believing someone like that could exist. That's what I lost. Not just her. Me. The version of me who believed people were good. Who believed love was enough. Who believed that forever could really mean something. That guy is gone. And the man who took his place? Well, he knows better.